So let's start. For those who don't have that card, so this card, that card 1 we are revising, the best scorer of this card got 85, okay? The best scorer of this card got 85, and it only comprised the first two topics, communication and the written communication, and part of the report and proposal, okay? So this card, the question in this card totally came out from the question from those set by the CASNEP, those that they have been setting the other sittings, okay? So like question 1, it came in April, it was taken from April 2022, whereby you are told that you have been nominated by your organization, you have been nominated by your organization to make a media announcement of a new product. Propose 5 factors that you might consider when choosing a media of communication. So this one comes from topic 1, okay? Whereby we have it come under communication, whereby we had definition of communication, then importance of communication, and also had channel of communication, channel or media of communication, and then we also had what? We also had barrier to communication, to effective communication, principle of effective communication, We also had what? Principle of effective communication. We also had means of communication, means or form of communication, and after mean or forms, we came now to type of communication, whereby you have internal, and we also had external mean of communication, okay? Then under here, we had now some channels that communication can take in an organization, channel of communication in an organization, whereby we had downward communication, okay? Downward communication, vertical communication, or upward, and also had horizontal communication, and also had what? Informal or grapevine, communication, informal or grapevine communication. Lastly, after this, we looked at the listening skill. Type of listening skill we have. And then we also look at the importance of effective listening skill. And lastly, recently, in our oral communication, we come and looked at the technique used in effective listening skill. So this comprises of all topic 1, okay? This comprises of what we discuss about topic 1, okay? Yeah, topic 1. So our question from that came from the channel or media of communication. And when you are dealing about channel, we tell that effective communication is strongly determined by two factors. Number one factor that determined effective communication was quality of the media. And number 2, it was determined by the principle of effective communication. So we had principle of effective communication, principle of effective communication, and then we also had quality of the media, quality of the media, quality of the media. So principle was 6, okay? We say it should be, number 1, it should be clear. It should be clear or clarity. Clarity, we also say it should be accuracy. Accuracy, we also say it should follow an order or logic order. Another one, it should be concise. Another one, it should be what? Precise. And lastly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lastly, it should be what? Principle. Who? Kyoko. Don't remember any principle of communication. So principle, precise, concise, and objectivity. Also have objectivity, and it should also be relevant. So those were the principle of effective communication. Those were principle of effective communication. Then we also looked at the factors that affect the quality of the media, factors that affect the quality of the media. Here, I told you there are many factors that affect the quality of the media. Number 1 was the cost of the media. Number 2, yeah, a type of message, if it is confidential or what. Number 3, it was urgency of the message. Number 4, it could also be type of the time of the time that message need to be transmitted. Number 5, we also talked about availability of the media. Another one, you also say you can consider also the audience. The audience, and there are so many of them, okay? There are so many of them that can be checked on, okay? Number 2, outline 5 rules of effective writing. So that come from topic 2. Whereby we said underwriting, we had some rules of effective writing. Whereby we say it is characterized by 7C. Okay? They are almost the same, but somehow they are different, okay? Number 1, it should be clear. Number 2, it should be considerable. Number 3, it should be concise. Number 4, it should be concrete. Number 5, it should be correct. Number 6, it should be clear, considerable, concise, concrete, correct, and then it should be also rules of effective writing. There are 7. They are characterized by 7C. Courtesy is another rule. Then number 6, lastly, complete. Lastly, it should be complete. Yeah, it should be complete. So it should be complete. That's a rule of effective writing. I think you can explain from your notes. I think you can explain that, okay? From your notes, you can explain that. Then give 6 forms in which internal communication can take, okay? We are here now, okay? Have moved here, we come type of communication, whereby we said type of communication, we have 2 types. Type of communication, we have 2 types, whereby we have internal communication, and also have external communication, So under internal communication, what we are supposed to do, as a good student, you are supposed to know what is internal communication, that is communication that takes place within the organization or among the organizational member. Hapo tuko pamoja? Among the organization member or staff, okay? Then, important of this internal communication or function of this internal communication, you also have to know, function or important of this internal communication. Like number one, it can be used to do what? To call? Call meeting in an organization. It can be used maybe to call meeting in an organization. Or another one, it can use to enhance relationship in organization. Enhance relationship in organization among organization member. Relationship in organization. Then another one, it can also be used to, maybe to elaborate on some policies, okay? Elaborate on some policies that are, elaborate on some policies, elaborate on some organization policy. Some organization policy and so many. So forms in which internal communication can take, So forms in which internal communication can take forms of internal communication. Number one, we have, it can be in form of meetings, okay? Number two, it can be in form of maybe email, okay? You can communicate through email among the organization staff. Number four, it can be through. Number three, it can be through. We can also say telephone. It can also take, number four, it can also take conferencing. Number five, we have newsletter, memos. Can also take through notice. So those were the ones that they wanted there. They wanted you to state, and in your notes, you have them there clearly. Okay? Then let's move to the next question. So you are supposed to give 6. And there are more than 6, okay? So describe 4 functions which downward communication serves. So downward communication, function of downward communication. So we say that communication channels in an organization can be downward, vertical or upward, horizontal or informal, okay? If we talk about downward, we are talking about the communication from senior to, this is communication from senior to junior, a senior staff to junior staff, So what can a senior staff tell a junior staff? So function number one, to give instruction, instruction. Function number one is to give instruction. Function number one is to give instruction to staff or to junior staff. Junior staff. Yes, another one. Yeah, calling meeting, calling meeting, calling meeting. It can also be used to call meeting in an organization. Another one, to elaborate, elaborate on policies, elaborate on policies, elaborate on policies given, policies given. Another function it can be, another function that downward communication can serve, it can be maybe to confirm. Yeah, you can be called for him to confirm, okay? To confirm the suitability of a certain policy, confirm suitability of organization policies, confirm suitability of organization policies, confirm suitability of organization policy. Another one, another function this downward communication can take is to, so we looked at them. So downward communication, number one, to specify a task to be performed. Another one, provide instruction. Another one, provide information about the organization policy. Provide information about employee performance. Yeah, employee performance. Provide information about employee performance. Information about employee performance. Employee performance. And then lastly, we have provide information about the organization and its mission. Provide the information about the organization and its mission. Provide the information about the organization and its mission. So let's move to the next question. So as a good student, you don't leave it there, okay? You'll go and check on the function of upward, you go and check on the function of horizontal, and also check on the function of formal or informal communication, formal or informal communication. So describe, yeah, number two, in extent of communication process, define the following term. In extent of communication process, define the following term. Yeah, define the following term. So communication process, we say that for communication to be complete, it must take some element, or some element must be present for that communication process to be complete, okay? So element of communication, we said we have 7 elements. We said we have 7 elements. So element number one, we must have this person known as a sender. Is that okay? We must have this person known as a sender. Then a sender have what? A message. A sender produce a message. Then the message is done what? Is encoded or put in a language that can be understood. Is that okay? Then after encoding the message, we now come to choosing the media of transmission. Media of transmission is here. Then after putting the message into media, it will reach the other side or the other end, and the other end also they will do what? Decode or interpret, decode or interpret, decode or interpret, decode or interpret. So after interpreting the message, this person known as receiver will receive the message, okay? Receiver will receive the message. Then afterward, he will also encode the message. And then after encoding the message, he give what? Feedback. He give feedback. He give feedback. He give feedback. Encode the message and then give feedback. He give feedback, which is now the, what is feedback? Feedback is the reply, okay? Reply to the message or reply to complete the message. Then you will send, here is social media, you send back to the sender, and sender also will decode first. Sender also will decode so that he can receive the feedback from the receiver, feedback from the receiver. So those are the 7 elements of communication process. So there must be there so that communication is complete. There must be there so that communication is complete. There must be there so that communication process is complete. So we are saying that now without receiver, communication process will not be complete. Imagine you have a phone, you write a message, but no one to send to. You don't have that number, so you'll remain with your message. You'll not have been communicated. So in extent of communication process, define the following term. Encoding. Encoding, we said, is putting a message, is a process of choosing a word, process of choosing word, symbols, sign, or sign to express a message, to express a message, to express a message, a message in understandable form, in understandable form, understandable form, understandable form, okay? Understandable form. Then decoding, decoding was number 2. Decoding here just means to interpret the message, the receiver interpreting the message. Here encoding is done by the sender. Decoding, encoding is done by the sender, while the decoding is done by the receiver. 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 Then the feedback, definition of the feedback, definition of the feedback. We say that the feedback is what? Definition of the feedback. We say that the feedback, this is the reaction or response of the receiver, reaction or response of the receiver to the sender message. So feedback here is the reaction, reaction or response, response to the receiver message, to the receiver of the receiver, response of the receiver to the sender's message, to the sender's message, sender's message. So that was all about the feedback and encoding. So as a good student, you should also go and read who is the sender, function of a sender in communication, and the receiver, and function of the receiver in the communication process, in the communication process. Then describe 4 physiological barrier to effective listening. Describe 4 physiological barrier to effective listening. So barrier to effective listening. So it is still here, okay? Under listening skill, it is still here under listening skill. We also checked on barrier to effective listening, barrier to effective listening. And whenever they state they are physiological, they mean that the barrier can be caused by the listener, barrier that can be caused by the listener, not the external, okay? That barrier but that can be caused by the listener. That's why they specify that word there. They specify that word there. They specify that word there, physiological, okay? So that those barriers that come inside a listener, is that okay? So there is so many barriers that can come inside the listener. Whenever the message is being communicated, number one, he can be making noise, okay? He can be making noise, okay? So that he don't get the message clearly, Number two, it can be attitude toward the message, toward the message that is coming, Number three, it can also be perception of the listener, okay? Perception, his understanding, or he's taking that thing maybe in different category or in different angle, okay? In different category or in different angle. Number four, it can also be what? Yeah, stress. Yeah, like now life is hard, okay? Whenever you go to chair a meeting or to cheer people in a certain place, you don't know how they will be feeling toward your message. Hapo tuko pamoja. Then number five, it can also be physiological barrier that can caused by a person, not we also say self-confidence. Ile unasema huyu hawezi niambia kitu, okay? Self-confidence. Mimi nimepita ama mimi ni mkubwa hapa, huyu atakuja kuniambia aje hapa vitu mimi sielewi. Is that okay? So those are the physiological barriers that you can identify, but you can add other barrier like external disturbance, but these are now the physiological that can be caused by the listener, Then analyze for benefit of external communication. So we have checked on internal communication. Let's look at now the benefit of external communication. Let's look on the benefit of the external communication. Benefit of external communication. Yeah, by the way, we have those communication kits. From Somea Kenya. If you need one, please, you can order, okay? So Somea Kenya, you have those communication kits from Somea Kenya. Since you have already completed the syllabus, they can help you because they have solutions that they try to elaborate more on whatever we have been talking about, okay? So once one goes at 500, if you need one, you can order, and then we can organize how it will reach you, okay? So benefit of external communication. So number one, we checked on internal communication, and we looked at the forms in which internal communication can take. We also said that we have external communication, whereby it is communication that occur between the people of organization and the outsider, okay? Outsider like customer, like creditor, suppliers, and we also have government, okay? Those are the kind of communication. It can take different forms, okay? It can take different forms. It can take through maybe, it can be done through maybe recording, financial record, press release, newspaper, email, notice, okay? All those are forms of external communication. So what are the importance of this external communication? Importance of this external communication. So number one is, it can strengthen the relationship, between the organization and outside member organization and outsider. Number 2, it can increase organization. It can increase cells in organization. It also enhance. So Mr. Salasa, we are devising the first cut. You don't know, ulifanya hiyo? The first cut. Na ulikuwa, let me check if I have a copy here. Maybe when you utoe photocopy, ama unaweza download kutoka kwa group, kwa group ya shule. Maybe when you utoe photocopy ndio nimebaki na hii. Yeah? Unaweza toa photocopy ubaki na copy yako. Yeah? Saizi tunaendelea revision. Ama upige picha usomee kwa simu, whichever you can choose, okay? So it can enhance the reputation of the organization image, reputation of organization image, organization image. Number 4, it can also do what? It can also do what? Another one, it creates trust. Between the organization management and it is shareholders. Yeah, whereby they communicate whenever they are doing what? Whenever they are giving the financial statement, okay? Yes, we said that each year there must be an AGM. And AGM you must give the audited financial statement, okay? Number 5, it can be used to do what? Number 5, it can also be used to do what? So they needed 4, you can add more, whatever you see here. Whatever you look now, you can look on those parties that are the outside members that can communicate with the organization. Which party are those? The parties that can communicate external communication. External communication can take place between which party and which party. We have organization, and number 1 is government. Number 2 is customer, okay? Number 2 is customer. Number 3 is suppliers, okay? Suppliers. Number 4 tuko na shareholders. Number 5, we can also categorize who? Yes, parties that are external to an organization. We have government, we have customer, we have suppliers, we have shareholders, and we have, yes? Investors, yeah, investors like bank and whatever, investors. And then we also have what? Investors. We have which category again? Yeah, all this can be. And then we have public, okay? We have public, yeah, like here, our surrounding are also external People are also external parties that can come to communicate with the organization. Then after identifying this party, now you look at the benefit, okay, that can accrue by communicating to each party, okay? So like number one is government. What benefit can be there when organization communicate with government? Yeah? Yeah, they can also increase grants. Maybe government can also venture into the organization activity and they offer grants, okay? Customer, you can say it can increase customer relationship, organization customer relationship, okay? Then if you come to supplier, it can also make a better requisition from suppliers and they get better terms that they can discuss their matters. That okay? Yeah, shareholder the same. Shareholder is among the trust when they are offering the reports of the AGM in AGM, when the auditor come to give a report, okay? It increases that trust between the organization and the shareholder. Then investors, they are also able to know if there is that flow of communication throughout. There's also to know that their money is safe and they cannot doubt organization, okay? And they can also advise various parties. We also have public, okay? We also have public, the member of the community that surround that organization. So to member of the community, they can be able to get employment from the organization, okay? Or they can be able to get other services from the organization, like maybe it come a time when organization just choose, let's do community cleaning, okay? They go all along to clean the area so that it look decent, okay? Or they support something, they support a certain activity like buying maybe for children's schools or toothbrush or shoes, okay? They offer to the community, Those are the benefits that can accrue in this external communication. Those are the benefits that can accrue in this external communication. Then number 2D says summarize 4 items that should be contained in a formal report. Summarize 4 items that should be contained in a formal report. So formal report come from the topic of reports, report and proposal, whereby we said we have short report and we have long report. We have short report and we have long report. So report, we have 2 type of report. We have short report. We have short report and we have long report, okay? So long report are written from those projects that maybe, or those activities that maybe they took place and there were maybe those big activities, okay? But short report are always issued, maybe there was a meeting between the CEO and the departmental managers, okay? So those are the kind of short reports. So content of a report, number 1, we say it must have what? Content of a report, title. Then after title, we come to term of reference. Term of reference, you write who requested the report and who report is going to, okay? Then after term of report, you start writing what? Yes? You start writing the finding, okay? Finding, procedure or method that you will use to correct, procedure or method that you use to collect the information. Then you write the finding from those methods you use, okay? Then after finding, you do what? You recommend, okay? You do what? You recommend. You come up with recommendation. Then after recommendation, you do what? You conclude, okay? Conclusion. You give their conclusion. You give your conclusion. So those are the content of a short report. Those were the content of a short report. But long report, the report that entail books and what, we must have something to do with cover page, appendix, so let's check. So content of a long report, content of a long report, content of a long report, content of a long report. Number one, we must have title page, title page, title page. Number two, we also must have content page, content page. Remember, long report is in form of a book, okay? Number three, synopsis finding, synopsis finding, synopsis finding, synopsis finding. Then number four, we must have procedure, procedure or method, procedure or method. Number five, we must have sectional finding, sectional finding, sectional finding. Number six, we also must have conclusion, conclusion. And then we also have recommendation, recommendation, recommendation. Number seven, number eight, we must have appendix, appendix or summary of whatever that has been said. And then number nine, we must have bibliography, the information about the writer of that report, the information about the writer of that report, the information about the writer of that report. So maybe what to learn about the report, maybe what to learn about the report again. You can also learn about the type, so the forms in which a report can take, okay? The forms or type in which a report can take. So forms in which a report can take, we say number one, it can take in letter form, letter form whereby it is written like just the normal report is written. Number two, it can also be in paragraph form, whereby each, as you start like title, like let's say like title, you start a paragraph, term of reference, you start a paragraph, method of finding, you also start a paragraph, finding, you start a paragraph, everything becoming a paragraph. Then number three, we say it can also take in a tabular form, whereby you write just a title on top, okay? After writing the title, you write term of reference, then from method, finding, and whatever, you rule, you divide your book so that it is done in a paragraph. Like here, you can write procedure, use, then the procedure, you write finding, then after finding, you write there conclusion, and then here is recommendation, here is recommendation. According to me, I see this and this can be used. According to me, I see this and this can be used. So those what we learn about the report. Then we also learn about something to do with proposal, okay? Because there are always two things that go hand in hand, okay? You can either get a question from proposal or you can get a question from the report. So you go and read about the proposal. You go and read about the proposal, and the proposal they mainly ask on the content, can be asked on the content or characteristic of a good proposal. So go and read about that. Then number E, define the term proposal. Define the term proposal. Define the term proposal. What is proposal? Yeah? It is? And it's an opinion. It can be an opinion or a project, okay? A project or idea or a research on something, okay? A research on something that you want to come up with, okay? But mostly they define it in terms of funding, okay? In terms of funding, when they want to fund something, that's when you'll see it being referred so much. So we said in our notes, let's check what we define in our notes. So we said it is a it is a business plan. A proposal is a business plan. Proposal is a business plan which usually is prepared for the people that are not familiar with either organization or a project. It's a business plan which usually prepared for the people who are not familiar with either organization or our project. Which usually prepared for the people who are not familiar with the organization or our project, who are not familiar with the organization or our project. The project plan will give the reader all information needed about the activity, okay? Yeah, the project plan will give the reader all information needed about your activity, So that was the definition of the term proposal. That was the definition of the term proposal. Then number three, let's move on. With reference to the internal communication, we said we have two types of communication. Number one, we have external communication that we have been talking about. Number two, we have about internal communication. Then differentiate an order and instruction. An order and instruction. So what's an order? Yes? An order and an instruction. An order and an instruction. Yes, order is, yeah, someone answered and said that order is an instruction, while instruction is following order. Yeah, what's an order? An order is, yeah? Yeah, it is a command. It's a command or mandate to be carried out, Command or mandate to be carried out, okay? Here, remember, it is a must. It is a must. It's a must to be executed. So it's an order. You don't have to compromise, okay? It's Some must to be executed. What about an instruction? An instruction is a guide or a procedure. It is a guide. It is a guide or a procedure. It's a guide or a procedure on how to accomplish a task. On how to accomplish a task. So that was the difference. That was the difference. Then summarize quality. Summarize for quality of an email. For quality of an email. For quality of an email. Qualities also mean the characteristic. Qualities or characteristic. Characteristic of an email. Characteristic of an email. Characteristic of an email. Number one, it must be. Yes, characteristic of an email. So qualities of an email, it must be concise, okay? Concise. Number two, it must be concise. It must be intention, focus, intention, focus, intention, focus. Remember here talking about email in an organization. Those emails that are sent to the customers, okay? Customers or customers sent to the organization, they must have intention. They must have intention. They must have intention. And then number three, well organized, logically well organized, logically well organized, logically well organized, logically. And then lastly, it should be clear. It should be clear on action. Clear on action. Should be clear on action. Should be clear on action. So this is also still under written communication, okay? So you can also, ukilemewa kabisa, you just take those 7 C's that we said, okay? Yeah, just take those 7 C's that we said. They are the kind of effective writing that you can use. Effective principle of writing, of an effective writing, you can use them there. Is that okay? Yeah, then next we are told what? Examine 5 techniques of effective listening. So technique of effective listening, I think I gave you in the last topic of oral of effective listening. So what are the techniques that you can use for effective listening? Number one is, yes? Yeah, eye contact. Yeah, eye contact. Eye contact. Eye contact with the speaker. With the speaker. Another one, taking short note. Taking short note. Another one, yes? Listening, yeah? Yeah, nodding, okay? Can nodding. It is also said that it shows that you are listening, shows that you are listening by nodding, by nodding. Another one, asking question for clarification, question for clarification. Another one, I gave you more than 10, okay? You have them in your notes, okay? You can go there and confirm. They are there. Under when it was under oral communication, that topic of oral communication. Nafikiria ukienda hapo utapata hizo technique of effective listening, okay? Then number next, define the term grapevine communication. Grapevine communication. Grapevine. Grapevine, we also say it is informal communication. Grapevine, we also say it is informal communication. So grapevine communication. Grapevine communication, we say it's also informal communication, whereby we say it is what? Grapevine communication or informal communication, we say it's an communication that does not take any form, but can be communication that can take any form, okay? Whereby there is no any organization or procedure to follow so that you start communication, but you can just communicate with anyone. Is that okay? In an organization, like a senior manager can come maybe during lunchtime, sit with the junior manager, okay, junior staff, and they start communicating. Is that okay? Yeah, what is so interesting about this is the advantages and disadvantages. That was, hiyo ndio majorly utaulizwa hapo, okay? And one of advantages of grapevine communication is that information is spread fast, okay? Information is spread fast. Another one, it enhance the relationship, okay? It enhance the relationship among the organization member. Another one, another advantage of grapevine communication. Yeah? Yeah, it does not have formalities that to be followed, that the information must pass here, must pass there, must pass there. Okay? It does not have that formality. It does not have that formality. Yeah, another one. It is properly utilized. It may supplement formal channel of communication. Okay. Yeah, where a formal channel of communication fail, grapevine communication can supplement. And there again, it also provide feedback to manager on the reaction of decision taken by management. It also enhance it, provide feedback on decision taken by management. What about disadvantages? Number one, it always carry a half-truth information, okay? It always carry a half-truth information. Another one, the people in an organization are likely to be misinformed, okay? The people are likely to be misinformed and misled. Another one, since there is no chain of command, it is difficult to fix responsibility on a particular individual. Yeah, it is difficult to fix. Maybe I'm telling you about a certain teacher, okay? But that certain teacher does not even know or does not do whatever you think that it is there, okay? So it is hard that you will go and say that you fail your responsibility because I had like this, and like that. Another one, often information transmitted is contradicting in nature. Information transmitted is contradicting in nature. Another disadvantage, grapevine is less orderly and less static, and thus the image of the organization may be spoiled. The image of organization may be spoiled. The image of the organization may be spoiled. Maybe what also you need to know, or what also you need to ask, learn about it, is now how to use effectively, how to use that grapevine communication effectively. Unaweza andika hizi haziko kwa notes, okay? So how to use grapevine effectively? Number one, the manager should adopt an open door policy. The manager should adopt an open door policy and should keep each one well versed about plan or prosperity on all changes in an organization. The manager should adopt an open door policy and should keep each one well versed about plan, prosperity, or policy, or any other changes in organization. Another one, The manager should identify the leader. The manager should identify the leader and try to win his confidence. The manager should identify the leader and try to win his confidence. The manager should identify the leader and try to win his confidence. Then number three, the manager should listen to every gossip or rumors. The manager should listen to every gossip or rumors and analyze it to get to the nerves of the feeling of employee, to get to the nerves of the feeling of employee, to get to the nerves of the feeling of employee. Another one, the manager should maintain a cordial relationship with his subordinate. The manager should maintain a cordial relationship with his subordinate. A cordial relationship with his subordinate so as to reduce the possibility of grapevine, so as to reduce the possibility of grapevine, so as to reduce the possibility of grapevine. And lastly, the manager should work toward providing a healthy atmosphere at workplace. The manager should work toward providing a healthier atmosphere at workplace, a healthy atmosphere at workplace, a healthy atmosphere at workplace, a healthy atmosphere at workplace. Then number four on the card. Describe 5 characteristics of effective business communication. Characteristic of effective business communication. So characteristic of effective business communication. So characteristic of effective business communication, it should be what? Yeah, I've already said that, okay? I've already said that. We said it should have what? Yeah, precise. This is why you are being told the principle of effective communication, the principle of effective communication. That is what you are being asked here, okay? Principle of effective communication. But we said we have 6 principles that we have in our note, okay? Number 1, we say it must be accurate. Business communication must be accurate. Another one, we said should be precise, okay? Precise. Another one, we said it should follow a certain order or logic. Another one, we said it should be clear. It should be clear. Clarity or clear. Another one, we said it should be, yes? Yeah, complete. Should be complete. And lastly, clarity, logic, precise, and then it should be, lastly, it should be objectivity. It should have objectivity, and also it should be relevance. Should be relevant to the subject matter. Relevant to the subject matter. Then number B, State 5 difference between oral and written communication. Oral and written communication. So here they are asking on forms of communication, forms or mean of communication, forms of mean of communication. And we said we have how many forms of communication? Yes, we have how many forms or mean of communication? Kyoko, we have how many forms? Yes? Yeah, we have number one, Ati. Yes, written and yes, we have number one, written. Then number two, Salais. We have oral. We have oral. Number three, we have visual. And lastly, we have audiovisual. Audiovisual. So we said written. Written is a mean of communication whereby it is expressed through written words, okay? Written words. So, and also have forms of written communication. These I think we looked at when we were looking at the second topic, okay? Then we have oral, whereby it is represented by the verbal word. It is represented by verbal word. And this oral, we have also tackled it under oral communication as a topic, okay? Then we have visual communication, whereby we use the sense of sight. We use the sense of sight to communicate, okay? Only the listener or the knee use the sense of sight to understand or to interpret the kind of communication that is going on. Then we have audiovisual, whereby we use the sense of sight and sound, sense of sight and sound, okay? So here our question wants us to differentiate between oral and written, oral and written, oral and written. So here you are not, you could use any means that you can come up with the different. Number one is definition, okay? Here, number one, oral uses spoken word or verbal sound or verbal words, verbal. Then here it uses written, words, Number two, the different number two, you can say yeah, you all have to. Yeah, it take forms of face, it take forms of face to face, take form of face to face, can also be telephone, okay? Telephone, or it can also be telephone. While here, it take forms of maybe email, okay? Email. We also have memo, okay? Notice, you must read, okay? What you must read. Number three, you can talk of advantage, okay? Can talk of advantage. Here you can say it is fast, okay? It is fast, mean of communication, it is faster than written, and here you can say it is, here if you say here is faster, here will be, yeah, it is time consuming, and also you can check on difference that you say it is not preferred for long message, okay? Oral, it is not preferred for detailed message, while here it is suitable for detailed, it is sweet for detailed message, So here you could use any mean to come up with those differences. You could use any mean to come up with those differences so that you scoop all those marks, okay? They always give 8 marks or 10 marks for you to give those differences. So you take 5 on the other side, 5 on the other side, okay? Yeah, 5 on the other side, 5 on the other side. Then the next question, we're talking about draft a memorandum inviting member of staff in your department for planning meeting. I remember this question I gave you as an assignment, okay? I remember this question I gave you as an assignment. So here, examiner was not interested on looking at the how you know how to write, okay? He was only interested with the characteristic if you know the content or the 5 features of a memorandum, okay? Features of a memorandum. So a memo must have what? Number 1, we must have, yes, features of a memo. It must have a title, and the title there, it starts with the word memo. It starts with the word memo, okay? Memo, because it's an internal communication, okay? It's an internal communication within the member of the organization, okay? Memo, then date, then it also has a date. Then after date, it has what? After date, it has what? Yeah, two. From, it starts with from or to. Yeah? To, then from, then subject, okay? Subject, like here, the subject was meeting for, the subject on that question was meeting for department, inviting a member of staff, meeting for members of staff for departmental planning, okay? Wewe hata hujaandika lakini hizi marks ushapata 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? Hizo ni 5 tayari ushapata. Then you write a body, yes? Yeah? Yeah? From inakuwa wapi? Iko? Inafaa kuwa hapo juu. From. Chini si utaandika tu initial manager or who. So from here, maybe it's a certain department, okay? A certain department you indicate there, maybe from human resource, okay? From whoever. So let's check. Acha tupeane kitu iko sawa na notes. Let's check on a memorandum. Example of memorandum, I think we were given here. Yeah, iko hapo juu. Can check on this. Hii kama watu online wanaona. Memorandum to, from, date, alafu subject, then you give there your body, then right there you can write thank you, or you can write who, okay? Then you write a body. Then you write a body of whatever the meeting where you want the meeting to be. Then down there you can write thank you. There is no salutation. There is no salutation that you write to dear so and so, no, or you are so and so. There is no salutation. So those are the things that the examiner will be looking at your memorandum. Those are the things that the examiner will be looking at your memorandum. Those are the things that the examiner will be looking at your memorandum. So as a good student, you can also go and check on other means of communication, like what a notice should contain, okay? What a notice should contain. We have talked about report, we have talked about proposal, we have also talked about business letter, characteristic of business letter. All those you should also go and check, okay? Because you already have notes, with you. Then, number 5, give 4 advantages of visual communication as a mean of communication. Visual communication. So advantages of visual communication. Advantages of visual communication. Yeah, number 1, we said it is better for those people with better for visual communication, better for illiterate, because hakuna maneno hapo. Better for illiterate people or illiterate audience. It is better for illiterate audience. Another one. Another one. Another one, it encourage the audience attention. It encourage audience attention. Because it's only gestures and signs that are used there, okay? There is no talking, there is no anything. Just sign whatever you can see, you see. And then whatever you can't see also, you cannot communicate it, okay? Yeah, another one, another advantage. Yeah. It delivers information more, delivers information more directly. Delivers information more directly. Because if it is use of chart, you see what's in chart, okay? You see what's in chart. Another one. Yoko, what's one of the advantages of this visual communication? Whereby you use sense of sight to communicate, use sense of sight to communicate. What's the advantage? Ilikuwa 4. Ilikuwa tu rahisi, hata sio 4, ni 5, more than 5. Yeah. Easy to remember. Maybe easy to remember. Yeah, easy to remember because they are just gestures, okay? You can remember them easily. Easy to remember. Another one, easy to remember. Easy. Yeah. Discourages false. Who will prove that information is false? Hapa nilikuwa nimeandika useful for those with hearing problem. Yeah, useful for those with hearing problem. Useful for those with hearing problem. Those with hearing, wale hawezi sikia because it's only sign that is being problem. Then disadvantages of this visual communication. Number one, it cannot serve those with sight problem, okay? It cannot serve those with sight problem. Those with sight problem. Number two, the message may be misinterpreted. The message may be misinterpreted. Another one, yeah, it's expensive. Yeah. And also put there it is expensive. Maybe to acquire those machines that you need might be hard. It's expensive. Another one, yeah, time consuming. Prepare those things you want to use, time consuming. And lastly, you can say it does not allow illustration. So those are the disadvantages. Then number next, state 5 barrier of communication, and then give their solution. State barrier of communication and give their solution. So barrier of communication, hapa hujambiwa ni physical ama hujambiwa ni nini, so you state more nini. Then number one, barrier of communication. Number one as usual is language barrier. Number one is language barrier. Solution to language barrier. Yeah, use common language, okay? Use common language. That both audience and presenter understand. Then number two, we have noise. We have noise. What is solution to noise? Yes, Kyoko. Yeah, you find noise-free environment, okay? Go to noise-free, get to a noise-free environment, get to a noise-free environment. Another one, another barrier of communication. Tumezilist hapa saa zile, yeah? Culture also can be barrier. Culture, so the solution to culture. Solution to culture. So, yeah, give those points that you know you can come up with solution easily, okay? Yeah, avoid those cultures that will scare the audience. Avoid some culture that will scare the audience. Some culture that will scare the audience, that will Scare the audience. Another one, we have attitude. We have attitude. Attitude. And attitude, you do what? Develop the right motive toward the message, okay? Develop the right motive toward the message, toward the message. Then next we have, yeah, timing. Time can be barrier. Time, then what about solution to time? Yeah? Find the appropriate time to deliver the message. Yes, keep time in message delivery, okay? Keep time or give the message in stipulated time, okay? Give the message in stipulated time or required time, okay? Then we have also perception. Whereby someone is want to call you to give you the message, and then you come up and you say, najua tu chenye anataka kuniambia, ni pesa anataka kuniomba. So you prevent, you do what? You prevent assumption on receiver side. Prevent assumption on receiver side. Assumption on receiver side. Prevent assumption on receiver side. So some, and there were more than 10, okay? There are more than 10. You can come up and you come up with those solutions. You can come up and you come with those solutions. Then differentiate between critical thinking, critical listening, and selective listening. Yeah, type of listening. Hapo ndo niliona shida. Hapo ukimaki hiyo maswali, I saw so many problems. Critical. So let's start with the listening. What is listening? Let's start with the listening. Listening. What is listening? Yes? What is listening? Suppose you are asked, define listening. Utambiaje examiner? Because I'm sure you cannot leave it like that, okay? Lazima tu kuna hizo maneno utapeana hapa. What is listening? Yeah, it's a skill of receiving the information. Is that okay? Yes, receiving or being the recipient of the information. That's what we refer as listening. Then we had type of listening. Whereby we had more than 6 types of listening. Number one was intensive listening. Number two was critical listening. Number 3 was critical listening. Number 3 was empathetic listening. Number 4, we also have selective listening. Number 5, we had casual listening. And number 6, we had relaxed listening. Okay? Relaxed listening. So intensive listening is a listening where, we say it's a listening where the receiver of the message or the recipient or the audience is very keen and attentive to the incoming message, okay? He prevents everything that will disturb him to hear the message and understand. And it is shown by he take down notes. He's so critical, okay? And also where this intensive listening is applicable in a classroom, okay? In a meeting, okay? In a meeting, and where else? In a meeting also, in an interview. You listen keenly, you listen keenly. So critical listening is whereby you select only to see the weakness and the strength of the information. You are listening there only to identify the weakness and the strength, the strength and the weakness of the information, okay? If empathetic listening is a listening where the audience and the giver of the sender of the message and the receiver of the message will now feel the same, okay? It is also called the feeling listening. It's also called the feeling listening. Hapo tuko pamoja, whereby you deliver information, but after delivering the feeling, you will now feel the same way, okay? Like bad information. I am now doing what? I'm now leaving you, okay? Or I want to kill you and I love you, okay? So before you do that, you start to feel that person, okay? You start to feel that person, or you are told that your mother is dead, okay? Whoever will tell you that word or that message will not be feeling happy, okay? He cannot come and tell you when he's feeling happy. So both of you will now come to sad feeling. That's what we call empathetic listening, okay? If it's a selective listening, the listener is just there to identify some information he wants from the message, okay? He identify part of the information, the other one he leave, okay? Then casual listening, you uko tu, you are just there, okay? You are not keen, you are not even doing anything, but you are just there. You are just there instead of listening, you are just there. Nothing you are doing. If it's about relaxed listening, you are only interested with part of the thing, but not even the message, okay? It's just there to come up when you are tired, okay? You go and open the music. Whatever the music is saying, you are not listening to it, okay? You are only interested, maybe the rhythm is making your brain to relax or do what, okay? So that's now the relaxed listening. But in casual, you are just there. You are just there for the sake, but you are not doing anything. Yeah, not understanding, not doing anything. Have you ever asked someone, or you are walking with someone, you give a story and then you ask, hey, are we together? Where? Where? Or you ask, do you understand? And who is that? What did you say? Or it's just someone that maybe has lost in casual listening, sometimes that someone that has lost his mind, okay? You go there, start to tell him, and then he return you back to the first point where you started. Yeah, like I come here, introduce myself. I am so and so, okay? And today we are going to do this and this and this. So I present my information, and then someone cut up the hand, okay? Then he asked me, what did you say that you are going to do today? What did you say that we are going to do today? All along, this person has not been listening to whatever. Now it is the time now he wants to start to listening. So critical listening, it was critical listening and selective listening. So critical listening, we said, is where you identify the weakness and the strength of the information. While selective listening, you are only there to look at the part of the information that you need, okay? What's important to you. The other one, you are not interested with it. Is that okay? Then give 4 areas where intensive listening is appropriate. Hizo tushasema, okay? In a meeting, classroom, interviews, maybe conferences, and all have you, okay? So that was the cut. I told you that the best performer in this cut got 85. The best performer in this cut got 85. So you can have some. I don't know if you have any question But that's how next class on Monday we'll revise the second cut, okay? Next class on Monday we'll revise the second cut. I already posted those cuts, the first cut and the second cut. Then after finishing, we'll now start doing paper each year okay? Until you go and do your examination. Hapo tuko pamoja. Please, on the topic you don't have notes, nishatuma pia kwa group. Utaangalia hapo kwa hiyo group utapata notes zote za communication skills is there. Unless someone has any extra question. Law class at 11. Let's meet in the law class at 11. And today we are checking on the law of property. The notes are already in the group. The notes are already in the group, okay? So you can check that.